Blog Talk Radio.
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution. Join me, Naima Latif, every morning, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, as we bring you stimulating discussions about the issues affecting our lives. If you're listening online at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution, press the blue button that says follow and get our daily topics every morning directly to your email and your smartphone. Hi, I'm Naima Latif, Executive Producer of the Female Solution Radio Show. We invite you to call in 515-605-9325 and participate in this daily think tank as we examine the challenges we face and develop solutions that restore peace and harmony. We are global transformers, changing the world from the way it is to the way it should be. We are one. Wherever we live on this earth, we are one human family. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to extend a greeting to all the members of our family, whenever and wherever you may be listening around the world. To our family in China, Ni Hao. In India, Namaste. In Japan, Konnichiwa. In Korea, Annyeonghaseyo. In Russia, Здравствуйте. In Germany, Guten Tag. In Poland, Dzień dobry. In France, Bonjour. In Spain, Hola. In Italy, Ciao. In Egypt, Ahlan wa sahlan. In Ghana, Akwaba. In Nigeria, Peleo. In South Africa, Sawubona. In Senegal, Nangadef. In Kenya, Jambo. In Israel, Shalom. In Pakistan, Afghanistan, Palestine, and Saudi Arabia, Assalamu alaikum. Greetings, and may peace be upon you all. Join us live on the on-air radio network called 727-731-5192. We want to talk to you. Yes, we do want to talk to you. And we are here live on the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, and we're going to join with our co-host Kareem Hamid and our special second Wednesday host Zoe Ma as we take a look at the economics of our nation and what it means for the upcoming presidency. We are too often afraid of change and believing that we don't have the power to change. Well, we've had a two-party system for a long time, and people have been told they need to select between a Republican or a Democratic candidate. But what about that third party that keeps surfacing, the Green Party, with a lot of ideas that people say they agree to, but yet they're not believing enough in their own interests to consider voting differently? What is it that would really change things here in America? Well, we're going to talk about it in just one moment. We'll be joined with our co-hosts, Kareem Hamid, and our American Muslim 360 family, and we want to hear from you. Give us a call, 727-731-5192 on the on-air radio network, or you can also reach us on our blog talk channels, 515-605-9325 or 515-605-9891. And of course, press 1 to let us know that you have something to say. We'll take a quick break and come right back. Are we really
consider the Green Party for the U.S. presidency. And what would that mean in terms of a different economic policy? We'll be right back after this quick break, so stick and stay. Don't stray away. Yes, definitely. We'll be giving you more insight on some of our political analysts that will be covering the upcoming Democratic National Convention as we consider our options this year. We'll be right back, so stay with us.
Hi, I'm Naima Latif, and if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
Hi, I'm Naima Latif. Join me and my co-host Kareem Hamid every Wednesday morning, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on the Female Solution Radio Show as we explore that relationship that is the foundation for our society, the relationship between men and women, husbands and wives. Join our discussion as we seek to repair broken family ties and rebuild our communities. Listen online at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution. Call in and comment 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak to our host. Or you can join us live on Facebook at www.facebook.com/the-female-solution. Yes, you can join our team of hosts every day of the week. And we want you to join us today. And of course, we have our co-host joining us and our American Muslim 360 family. And we are always ready to have a conversation so that you can make your voice heard and you can join us live on the On Air Radio Network. As always, we want you to call in and participate because this is all about you. And let's see, has our co-host joined us this morning?
Yes, assalamu alaikum, Naeem.
Wonderful. Wa alaikum salam. Well, we're excited because, as always, we get a chance to hear your wisdom on Wednesdays. And on the second Wednesdays of the month, our wonderful international businesswoman, Zoe Ma, joins us to give us a global perspective of our economic opportunities. And today we want to take a look at the political arena because we've been kind of stuck in a way of thinking in which we're believing that we don't have the power to change things. And we've heard from the Democratic Party and the Republican Party and all of them, getting indicted, going to jail, or being, threatened with possible imprisonment for impropriety. And we seem to be stuck there and not considering some alternatives. So our dear sister Zoe is joining us this morning because she's been exploring that third party, the Green Party candidate, and realizing that some of our economic goals have been better expressed by that third party. But we want to take a look at how possible do we think it is to just scrap this whole thing that we've been doing, herding into the Republicans and the Democrats and thinking we got to do it either or? Are we really ready to consider something else that might be in our better economic interest? So let me bring on to center stage our wonderful world traveling Zoe Ma. Grand Rising. Thank you so much. Got her green party shirt on. Yes. Well, we're here with our co-host Kareem Hamid and our American Muslim 360 family, and we've got folks listening from all across the world because we love for people to get an inside view of what's really happening here in America, because we know this election is going to affect a lot of lives, not just here but everywhere. So Zoe, tell us what got you excited and involved in wanting to participate in the Green Party. What did they say that sparked your interest?
First of all, I want to talk about why I feel that American democracy just a facade, that people of color do not really have a voice. I came to this country 30 years ago, thought America is a land of freedom, human rights, democracy. But after 30 years, this year, 2024, it marks my 30 years living in the United States. And I just, especially after the Gaza, just basic genocide, made me realize, America is so complacent in the genocide, by my definition, compared to, the American media talking about the Uyghur genocide. You do not see a dead body anywhere. But here in Gaza, you see the building was demolished, the human bodies everywhere, and then now they define that as not a genocide. So it's more like here, the mainstream, the political machine actually define the vocabulary. It's not the common sense one. So I really look into what is America about. And to me, America is not a country of democracy. It's dollarocracy. It's the political system is dominated by money, not by the people. Democracy is supposed to be, ruled by the people. But in America, that both Democrats and Republicans are actually co-tutor their donors, which is the biggest player in the United States is AIPAC. That is Israel lobby, consists of Israelis and some Americans thinking they all plan for the interests of Israel at the expense of average Americans. So I was so disillusioned. I actually make a plan to exit myself out. I don't want to live in this country anymore. Until a month ago, probably just almost a month, 30 days ago on Mother's Day, when I was thinking what I should do for Mother's Day, which is more meaningful. And I decided to go downtown Chicago to attend this rally mourning for the Gaza mothers who lost their children in the last 8 months of the genocide in Gaza. And where I was approached by a lady who are collecting signatures for Joe Stein, the Green Party presidential candidate. And I just heard over the news that she was arrested when supporting the college students protesting against the war. And then Israeli investment in American universities. That's really, to me, was so surprised. Education institutions are also infiltrated by Israeli interests. Not only the American government, the Congress, the presidency, and also the media. I think if you heard, two well-known Black journalists was fired from their post for criticizing Israel. One is a Black Republican, Candice Owen, and the other one is a Black Democrat, who is Brianna Gray. So the Democratic Party and the Republican Party do not consider people of color as Americans. They need our representation just for as a token of, for inclusiveness. But when the truth and the real conflict, break out, when we start talking about humanity, include, all life matters. If they have issue with the Black Lives Matters, the white people come on with the all life matters. Sure, all life matters. How about people in Gaza, across the world? No, if you are brown color, brown skin, and you are not considered a part of the humanity by their definition. Those people have their own definition of humanity, which do not include people of color. So when I heard Jill Stein was arrested for supporting college students, and that really resonated with me, because 35 years ago, I was one of the college students protest in Beijing Tiananmen Square. So activists for grassroots activists for the interests of ordinary people, it's running in my blood. And immediately I signed the petition. I did a little research on Green Party, and then within 48 hours, I was on the ground in New York, helping Jill Stein to collect signatures in New York after she sent out the calls that they need help in New York. Because, and then my trip to New York, really eye-opening, really see the true nature of Democratic Party, and a city that is controlled by the Democrats, both in the state level and the city level. I joined a few rallies in pro-Palestinian rallies in New York City, and I see the troop of the NYPD police came out in droves with zip ties and buses, ready to snatch protesters from the crowd, and then beaten elderly during the protest. The kind of draconian procedure taken against peaceful protesters, it was eye-opening. When I was in China 35 years ago, the biggest protest in China ever, and for a whole month, I didn't see any single police. And then, there's the government even sent an ambulance on standby for the students who were on hunger strike. And then you're talking about China was an undemocratic country. And now you go to New York City, you see the police, even for a small rally with a dozen white women, senior middle-aged women. We were talking about the police brutality during the Nakba parade in Brooklyn. They sent like 2 squad cars on the beginning of the on each end of the block, just monitoring so-called a dozen of middle-aged women. So now I just truly believe the Democrats and Republicans do not represent people of color, or the 10% of white people who actually have real sense of humanity. And that's why I joined the Green Party. I feel their platform is a people, planet, and peace. That's actually what every human being, regardless of their color, call for. And then the Republicans and Democrats, they all have APEC babysitters. Whatever their move, they need to get a permission, approval from their APEC Israeli lobby interest. If you hear recently, Carl, I think the one of the senators, I think Massey, was interviewed. He said the Republicans Each of them, except him, has a babysitter, the APEC babysitter. They need they see the approvals from that, from any political movement, and also they, most recently there's two laws were passed in the House. One is called so-called Anti-Semitism Awareness Act, which is criminalize on campus, high school or college, any criticism of Israel. That's number one. And the other one is another act in being debated is to strip away of nonprofit status of any organization supporter of Palestine. So those two acts, legislation actually has footprint of APEC on it. They are intrusion of our American basic rights, freedom of speech, freedom of religion. As a Christians, if you criticize Jews for betraying, put Jesus Christ on the cross, you become anti-Semites. And then if you make such speech on campus, school will be defunded from the federal government. So they force you to take action against you. So
let me ask you this question. This, and then for those who are listening, on our Blog Talk channels, on screen on our Facebook and YouTube channels on the Female Solution, we have the list of 2024 registered Green Party presidential candidates, and there are quite a few who have been actively involved in campaigning for president. And the Green Party also has an upcoming convention, to just like the other ones, scheduled to select a candidate to be on the ballot and to run. And this is these issues that are so deeply emotionally moving have stirred people, as you said, Zoe, to consider something else where at least their interests can be heard. If you have censorship happening and an obvious economic interests backing this war effort, somebody has to free themselves to speak up and say that this is wrong and this is not in the interest of American people. We have been manipulated for too long. People misusing religion to justify an economic drive and a desire to maintain an economic system that is very oppressive. And so there has to be a voice that is different than the Republican and Democratic parties, which is really the two sides of the same coin when it comes down to it. But the fact, like you pointed out, where people are being censored for even saying something, just like you experienced as a youth in the protests in Tiananmen Square in China, governments can be very repressive. And when you have the media that controls what people see and hear, it's difficult for people to make independent decisions. So just to free our minds to even consider another party, another platform, another philosophy, that takes a lot for a lot of people. So Kareem, as you're, of course, listening to the very passionate Zoe talk about this, and knowing her background as one of those college student protesters at a very volatile time in our world's history, what are your thoughts about that? So many people do things out of fear, and we've heard people afraid to speak about things, afraid to take a stand on things, afraid to let somebody from another point of view come and speak to their gatherings because they're afraid of repression. Do you think we really have the kind of free democracy in this nation that we always brag about? Or is there an undercurrent of threat if you don't comply with what's the acceptable philosophy. What are your thoughts on that?
Yes.
Are you asking me?
Oh,
This is
we're going to
not
have
a
Kareem
unique-
respond to what you just said, Zoe. Go ahead, Kareem.
Yes. Yes. This is not a one-off. This is not a unique situation that we're in. This all occurred in the 1950s with the Red Scare, the Senator McCarthy hearing.
Mm-hmm.
People were blacklisted. People lost their jobs, their careers. And that is what is happening at this time. You are threatened with loss of income, position, or any way they can negatively affect you. You know, we're the only country that we only look at two political systems, Democrat and Republican. Most countries, not all, but most have a multi-party system other than just two choices to choose from. And the problem with that is that it is very expensive. It is very expensive to campaign in this country. Airtime is very expensive.
Yeah.
People are not aware of the other political parties because it costs so much to purchase airtime. And the wealthy, they have their own agenda. They fund, they purchase political candidates
Oh, yes.
to toe the line for what they want. So the average person is somewhat priced out of the political system. The Green Party has been active for quite a good while now. But if you ask any citizen, who is the Green Party candidate? A lot of them don't know because there isn't.
Well, I think the Green Party is, we have to look at the Green Party not from the mainstream party's perspective, that you need money to advertise your party and then control the airways and then billboard advertising and things like that. A Green Party is a grassroots. I think we should build a democracy really from grassroots level.
Lose your job.
Yes.
It's just that simple.
Yes. So that's another thing.
To
I'm sorry.
Have rights, but it's another as to who will enforce the rights that you have. Where is the enforcement mechanism? The United States has become morally bankrupt. Morally bankrupt. They're going throughout the earth promoting democracy and the rule of law and taking the moral high ground. Well, the cover has been pulled off of them now. Mm-hmm. Other nations look at this nation as hypocrites. And this is the movement we see for pro-Palestine is not a political party movement. It is a human movement.
Yes.
People all around the world are expressing their humanity against what is happening to human beings in occupied Palestine, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, in the Sudan, in Haiti. So this has been the system that has existed a long time, but it's just now that fortunately it has come to the forefront. This is our anti-Vietnam movement coming from the era that I was raised in. And the idea of divestment is very critical. The apartheid government of South Africa did not relinquish its control from an altruistic position. They were financially challenged. There was a divestment movement, and it is we put corporations on the red carpet, colleges, and there was a movement worldwide, and companies and people refused to spend their money with corporations that supported the apartheid system in South Africa. You have to hit them where their heart is. The rich and wealthy, their heart is their money and power. But we, as common citizens, we can choose not to participate in what is being presented to us and being done. And we do that by withholding our money from them, our funds from them.
That's right.
You know, there's no way of getting around money in politics. It is very expensive to run for an office in the United States of America. And with the ruling of the Citizens United, that is a front for corporate interests. When they said that a corporation is a person, a corporation is a person, and there can be no limit placed on what a person can contribute under the guise of free speech. Your money is an expression of your position. So corporations now, they have bought our political system. They have bought it, and no matter what the people say, the politicians have to follow the corporate line. Otherwise, they will primary it. Primary means we will put up a candidate against you, and we will heavily fund them. We will support them. We will drain your campaign coffers and donate heavily to a primary candidate to get you out of office.
Yeah.
We wonder, how come our politicians aren't speaking up? Well, they are bought and paid for.
Yes.
In the pocket of corporate. Yes, ma'am.
And you know,
let me say this just one more thing.
Yes.
There is a misnomer. We think, well, yeah, this is a democracy. No, I beg to differ. This is a republic, a representative republic. It's not one man, one vote. This is a representative republic system. So if someone owns your representative, regardless to what your desires are, the representative usually follow the corporate line.
That's the problem.
I believe we've lost so much in this country. Our moral standing around the world is in shambles. It is in shambles.
Well,
we
you know,
we how can I put it? For someone to say that they can walk up to any female and put his hand on her genitals, and he still gets the support from
what does that tell you?
Women
what does that tell you? That's
a sign
That's a sad sign. That's a sad sign. And this is why when we see the kinds of people that are elected, we really can't blame anyone but ourselves, because they represent how we think. The majority of the people who vote, if this is the standard that you allow, why criticize somebody? They're reflecting back to us what our values are. So if we want higher values, then we have to support the people who are speaking the higher values. Now, if the Green Party is talking about what was the three things? The three things, it was
people, peace, planet.
And planet. People, peace, and planet. If we know that we've got to clean up the mess we've made of this earth that we're living on, that means cleaning the air, the waters, the land, so that everybody can live healthy. And if we know that we need peace, that means we can't have acts of aggression against one people over another, trying to take your things, take your land, take your resources. We know we have to stop that. And we have to care enough about people and their well-being so that we share the resources. If that is the philosophy that we say we follow, and we say that we're expressions of God, which is love for all, then we would select the people who represent that. And why should the people who are speaking what is correct be overshadowed by the people who are openly, like you just said, Kareem, openly insulting us, openly vulgar, just because they have money? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So we have to look at ourselves. Why are we allowing this? Because we have the power to follow these principles if we choose to. We got to take a quick break. And when we come back, I want to look at the economics of things. And does it really cost a lot of money to get elected, just based on the freeness of social media and the fact that everybody got a cell phone? How hard is it to put out a message? And programs like this that go all over the world and people can access them through all of their devices. Is it time for us to think of a different strategy based on the real tools that we have in our hands that don't cost a lot of money? Can we do it? We'll come back and talk about that. And of course, if you're listening online and want to join this conversation, give us a call. 727-731-5192. Or you can call us on our Blog Talk channels, 515-605-9891 or 515-605-9325. And we want your opinion. Do you think we really have the power to change direction if we make a collective decision? We'll be right back after this quick break, so stick and stay, don't stray away. We'll be back after this brief message, so just stay with us.
Hi, I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms.
And in case you didn't notice the resemblance, we're also three sisters.
We're going to be coming to you every week, sharing our successes and our mistakes as we navigate our lives as moms, wives, sisters, daughters, and of course, Black women in today's world.
We'll talk about it all: race, politics, religion, economics, culture, and we'll take a look at everything from whether or not to use corporal punishment to how do you teach your children about sex.
Look for our upcoming book, Growing Up Charles. It's a personal story about our lives growing up in Maple Park on Chicago's South Side. I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Three Black Moms.
Hi,
you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
Have you ever dreamed of going to exotic places, meeting fascinating people, enjoying uplifting music, and spending nights in a luxurious hotel? Do you look forward to a relaxing vacation where you can walk along the beach or sit in a quiet park and enjoy the sunset or sunrise? Whether you're flying around the world or driving across the country, we will share travel tips that will help you stay safe while you enjoy the journey. Join me every third Saturday of the month, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, and move around with Deborah here on the Female Solution Show. Call in and comment 515-605-9325 and press 1 to speak.
And we are back. You're listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, along with our co-host Kareem Hamid and our American Muslim 360 family. And on our second Wednesday, we've got our special host Zoe, as we shop with Zoe and look at the economy. And today we're looking at the politics of economics as we consider a party that has been around a while, the Green Party. And that green can stand for a lot of things. Of course, green tends to stand for new growth and wholesomeness and healthiness. And it can also stand for money. Well, one of the things that we have taken a look at is how our political system is so heavily backed by financial interests that are not in the interest of the people. So I want to ask our host and our co-host and all of you, given the new systems that we have of communication that are readily accessible to anybody with a cell phone or a computer, does it really cost that much to win an election? Because we've had some major upsets in Congress, people who were grassroots organizers. They weren't backed by corporate interests, but they won and they shocked people. So I think we actually have the power if we could just master this social media and all of these people who've got YouTube channels and Facebook pages and Instagram and TikTok. If we could just use what's in our hands, I believe we could get a message out to actually convince enough people that they do have the power to change the direction of this nation. So I don't know, Zoe, what do you think? Do you think that's a possibility? I mean, you've seen the power of TikTok. We've talked about that. People are on their cell phones all day long, like we said. Is it possible to use this social media to elect a president? What do you think?
Absolutely. Right now, even Trump, Biden, they all got their account on social media. So that's why they know the power of social media. that a lot of Americans, especially young people, they already tune out from the mainstream media because they know that the mainstream media is being controlled by the same people who control the government. The media basically a mouthpiece for the government. So American media is not free to actually to check and balance the government at all. They are just extension of the political machine, manufactured consent that actually followed line with the major parties. But the young people realize that they go into the social media to look for alternative news. And that's why the government is banning TikTok, because they know, they compare TikTok with Instagram, why the kind of a proportion of real news from the Gaza actually is being silenced on Instagram, and the political machine, the mainstream media, and then the government, the administration are get scared. So what they do, they team up with the Congress to ban TikToks, and so they know the power. And then the good thing is the social media is free. It's just on your phone, on your fingertips. It's a source for you to get news and also do business. Right now, the 400 years of industrialization is coming to the end. The capitalism is built on the industrialization. But you know what? Because the capitalists were so greedy, they want to maximize their profits. They find a way to use globalization to outsource all the productivity, the manufacture base out of the country. So, and then they actually basically deindustrialize United States as well as Europe. So the industrial base is in Asia right now. Maybe now coming to Mexico, but never come back to United States because of the inflation. And the inflation is not caused by the $1,200 you received during the COVID. It's because the 90% from the printed money went to Wall Street, and that actually they were using the free money to check up purchase all the real assets that make the inflation even worse than it is today. So America is not going to be reindustrialized. The kind of manufactured jobs, even they come back, they will become robots. They use automation. So automation ushering the end of industrialization. The whole socialist theory of workers and the employers, because the automation, the robots can work 24/7 and the human being can't. Then they are, and that's why the Chinese made products are so inexpensive, because they already outsource a lot of the low end manufacture to Southeast Asia and Mexico. They are using robots in the machines to make, I think, like the electric car can be made in a few minutes, a whole car. And that's why it's so inexpensive. Chinese product is inexpensive, not because of the so-called child labor. No, there's no child labor. It's it's a robot. That is the cheap labor you can ever find. It costs nothing.
Yes. Now, I want to throw this thought out there, and Kareem, tell me what you think about it as well. People are afraid of what they call artificial intelligence, all the different things that, like you say, the automation, replacing human labor. And of course, during slavery, everybody had a job, right? So if people are worried about not being able to survive because they can't work, I don't think that really is a problem. I think that what we're evolving to and what we have the power to evolve to is a system where money is not necessary. We simply choose to share the resources. There's no reason why we need any kind of symbol to exchange what we need to exchange. I believe, and we're working diligently on creating this, that there is a way that we can simply provide for the needs of the people and make life easier for people by using the technology that we have. And it shouldn't be where you can't eat if you can't work. That doesn't make any logical sense. I watch these food pantries give out food to people, and these people haven't worked for the food. They're hungry, so they need food. So that's the intelligent thing to do. Feed them. But then I've also seen places where food is stored up and rots and everything, and they won't give it out to people. And then I've seen people out on the street homeless, and they're starving. They can't, so they start robbing people because the people who are hoarding and controlling and storing and keeping the food won't give it to the people who need it. So what sense does that make? If you have something, then give it. I think all a government needs to be is as an organization that distributes things and organizes resources so that everybody has what they need. And it's very simple to do. You do not need money. There is no cost to live. That's a delusion. That's an illusion we've created. If we would just share, then everybody would have what they need, and we could also use the automation to make life easier. So robots aren't taking jobs. They aren't keeping us from living and being able to sustain ourselves. We're doing that because we're refusing to create a system of sharing so that everyone has what they need. And there is enough for everybody on this earth to eat, to have shelter, to have clothing that covers their body. There's enough. If you look at the insect kingdom, where everybody has a job and participates in the well-being of the whole, we in the human family can do the same thing if we choose to. So do you believe we will, in our lifetime, evolve to that higher stage of consciousness where we simply share and there is no poverty? Do you think we can do that? So, Kareem, what do you think? Do you think that's possible?
It would require an international effort to gain the attention of people on this globe. And as you stated, everyone, it seems to be, a lot of people are connected to social media. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, there's something called an algorithm. And an algorithm is what is trending on social media. Mm-hmm. We have heard of social media sites being shut down because of certain words that were used, certain positions were taken. So
we've had that happen on a couple of our hosts on the Female Solution, where they dealt with something controversial and all of a sudden, taken off YouTube or banned on Facebook. We've had that happen to us, yeah.
Yes, no doubt about it. Information has been actually weaponized. It has been weaponized. And, concerning the Green Power Party, they are very interested in the environment. We've only got one planet here, and we are seeing the results and ramification of fossil fuels depleting the ozone layer and creating the warming of the planet. There are young people from almost every country that are very alarmed by their future. And they are blaming the industrialized nation for what is occurring on the earth. Yes. So utilizing the Green Party platform, the environment where we live, this overheating of the globe, forest fires, you name it. We have been negatively impacted by climate change. Yes. How do we push back on? How do we reverse this trend? There is large corporate interest, large corporate interest that is very active in continuing the use of fossil fuels that's having a negative effect on our planet. You know, we mentioned money and currency. Suppose that there was a world movement, a global movement, that we will not go to work for 3 days. That would send shivers through the international corporate interest. Now, no one thinks who we are describing is not just a small corporate entity. No, there is universal, international corporate interest, and they meet. They meet at what's called the G7. Mm-hmm. They meet at the World Economic Forum held in Davos, Switzerland. So they are planning, and profit incentivizes them to continue as things have been. They have made huge profits. The corporate interests have made huge profits. Let's look at real estate. We remember in this country, we experienced what's called a real estate bubble. A real estate bubble. The overpricing of real estate. And when that bubble burst, a lot of people lost their home.
Yes.
They lost their property. And home ownership is one of the foundations of financial wealth. The banks were getting ready to collapse because of this worthless paper, this worthless stock, and it fell through. The government moved swiftly to bail the banks out. They used our money to bail out what they called too big to fail. They used our money. But those that lost their homes, that are homeless now, there is no relief for them. No one has truly addressed them with the same urgency. They were the victims of this real estate bubble, of this fantasy that was sold to the American public. So there's no getting away from corporate interest. How do we affect the corporate interest? The only thing I can say is withhold our dollars, withhold our wealth, because they only exist because of us, because of the common person. But if the common person can be educated to the degree that, and let them know that you do have power, your consumerism is fueling what we see, what is happening on the earth. Fossil fuel, takeover of whole countries, governments, the great bloodshed that has been shed and still being shed, taking people's mineral wealth, taking their mineral wealth, refining it, and then selling the product back to those countries that produced the mineral wealth. This is a huge corporate move.
Yes.
And we have to look at it like that. But it's going to take massive information and massive organization to incentivize the citizens on this globe to take action. Hold back your money. We don't need everything that they sell to us, that they promote through commercials. We don't need there are some things that we have lived without and certain things we can live without. It's going to take a massive organizational movement of citizens of Mother Earth to take back our interest. Our interest.
Yeah, I believe it's
What
doable.
will the earth look like? Yeah, go ahead, my sister.
I agree with what you're saying, and I think it's doable. I think that in their hearts, people agree with what the Green Party is saying. The challenge we have is to get them to believe that they have the power to do what you just said, and that is to act on a global scale. Now, we have done it. I mean, the movements for freedom in these countries all over the world, a lot of it was even inspired by the freedom movement in America. So people see that it's possible with organized collective action, you can create change. But there's also, we observed how the government very strategically organized disruption of those movements by, we all know about COINTELPRO, where the counterintelligence program of the US government to send people into organizations to disrupt by causing conflict. And that method is always used when a group is beginning to gain success and influence. And the only thing they use are the people's own egos. They create conflict among leadership. They create conflict by having people exposed for what's considered sexual misconduct. They create these kinds of conflicts in organizations so that they will implode and therefore not be effective. But people can only do that to you when you have inside yourself a weakness. The greed factor. People will pay off somebody or get somebody involved in some kind of bribery, and then they can expose that and destroy that leadership and destroy the people's trust in the leadership. But again, people can only destroy you based on your own weaknesses to succumb to whatever temptation they're giving to you. So this is what we've experienced in our past. Are we wise enough to not be manipulated into self-destructing today? We got to take another break. When we come back, Zoe, I'd like you to tell us about the Green Party's economic plan. And is that something doable on a large scale? And do you think there are enough people that would actually, if they could see what it is and see how it would benefit them, would they en masse be willing to support that idea? We'll talk about that when we come back. And we've got some callers on the line here. Press 1 if you've got a comment. If you call us on our on-air radio network, we'll know you got something to say. We'll open your mic and get your thoughts. And of course, if you are watching us on Facebook or YouTube, you can write in your comments. We'll share them with our listening and viewing audience. You're listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. And our second Wednesday of the month host, Zoe Ma, as always, giving us some powerful economic information. And today we're looking at the economics of politics as we consider the Green Party. Is it possible to make a change? We'll be right back. So stay with us.
Hi, I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're 3 Black moms.
And in case you didn't notice the resemblance, we're also 3 sisters.
We're going to be coming to you every week, sharing our successes and our mistakes as we navigate our lives as moms, wives, sisters, daughters, and of course, Black women in today's world.
We'll talk about it all: race, politics, religion, economics, culture, and we'll take a look at everything from whether or not to use corporal punishment to How do you teach your children about sex?
Look for our upcoming book, Growing Up Charles. It's a personal story about our lives growing up in Maple Park on Chicago's South Side. I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're 3 Black Moms. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, 3 Black Moms. Hope Radio. Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the female solution.
And we are back. You're listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, along with our co-host Kareem Hamid and our American Muslim 360 family. And of course, for our second Wednesday of the month, our host Zoe Ma, as she gives us a global perspective on economics. And today we are taking a look at the economics of politics and the Green Party. Are we willing to consider the Green Party based on the fact that they are expressing what really is in our hearts, our desire for our lives, our planet, our future? But are we believing we can actually make a change? For the last nearly 2 centuries now, I guess a couple of centuries, we have been stuck in this 2-party system. And it's been the same people, the wealthy landowners and lawyers and people who control the banking industry have been the ones running the government. And they have orchestrated systems that further their global economic interests. And so what we're experiencing are wars that have an economic agenda, and every single war has had one. So we get manipulated by the media to support the idea we're fighting for freedom. No, we're not. We're fighting so that the people who are controlling wealth that belong to others can keep their control. So how do we stop that pattern? So I think if people heard some of the ideas that the Green Party expresses, they might think, now this is really what I believe. This is what I'd really like to see our government do. So Zoe, what were some of the ideas that you heard as you listened to the Green Party members and the candidate discuss their vision for America and the world? What were some of the economic ideas that really resonated with you and you said, yeah, I think I support that? Uh-oh, wait a minute. Your audio.
Yes.
Oh, there we go.
Here in the United States, the institutions, the capitalists have the power of pricing our labor. That means if you work for somebody, they price your labor, and then they dictate how much you make, and then how much you can use for the needs. I think as a Green Party, we want to restructure the economy and take away their pricing power. And then we should make it our party platform is affordable housing, and then medical and student debt. Mm-hmm. Those are the system load us with a lot of debt, so we don't have anything to use for our necessities.
Yes.
And then for when I came to this country, I was told, I was brainwashed to believe, as the America be the richest country in the world, America has solved the poverty issue.
Mm.
And 30 years ago, China faced this crisis of, is the Communist Party and the socialist system can abolish poverty.
Mm-hmm.
And so I came to the country to study that. And the past 30 years, I see, first of all, I was awakened that America never solved the poverty issue.
No, it did not.
Actually, the poverty was manufactured for the benefit of the capitalism.
Yes.
At the cheap labor. And then the Republicans create the poverty. The Democrats keep the poverty. So the actually make the status quo.
Wow.
Right?
That's a revelation. The Republicans create the poverty and the Democrats keep the poverty.
Yes. So they so whatever the socialist system they Democrat give it to you, it's like opium, keep you addicted.
Yes.
To keep you always struggle above or below the poverty line. And you do not have autonomy anymore. You can't decide what you can do to improve your life. You cannot that. So the Green Party is actually Green Party, we will actually release you from that idea that you have to be living below around the poverty line so you can actually have a roof over your head. But you know, even that dream is being deflated.
Yes. You know, I want to really have us think about that for a minute, because I know so many people, you know, living on public aid that want to start businesses, but they can't legitimize their businesses because they can't let the government know that they're making money. So they can't do anything that would actually make a business grow, you know, like legally register it or, you know, apply for any kind of business grants or assistance, because they can't legally be in business because they're getting public aid to survive, which, like you said, keeps them at a state of poverty. It's like the only way you can get this help is if you stay poor, but then you stay poor because you know you get the help, which means you never really grow your business. I know so many people in that situation. That is exactly what's happening.
You know, so in China, I came to study how to solve the poverty issue in the United States in the past 30 years, because I thought I could help China to get, end the poverty in China. Mm-hmm. But the 30 years I was in the United States, China solved that problem. Now China lived 800 million people out of extreme poverty. That means people have to share a pair of pants. And they were starving like that. Okay. Yeah. But in the past 40 years, not only China helped 800 million people, like almost 3 times of US population out of extreme poverty, they actually created 400 million middle class. Bigger the size of the whole United States population.
Wow.
How to do that? Release the autonomy in the human being. They decide what to do.
Give them real freedom.
The freedom. So that's the real freedom. So I have a client who just came, who dumped $500,000 to buy American green card.
Wow.
Okay. So her story is very, very interesting. And then we are the same age. And she was from, we are same age, and she lived in. She was born in rural China, where it's almost very little resources. I was born in urban China, size of more like Detroit of China. 30 years ago, Detroit was wonderful, right?
Yes.
And then after 30 years, she was poor, and then with limited resources. And then she could only go to first grade at age 9, and I went to first grade at 6. And she dropped out from middle school. She didn't even finish the middle school. At 16 years old. The same years I went to college. So we are two paths.
Mhm.
And then 30 years later, she become a millionaire.
Wow.
Yes. So she's the one that $500,000 and bought a house in Florida and get American green card. Because one day I want to bring her because the two American
Yeah,
Chinese
we need to hear her
women,
story.
yes, I asked her how she do it. And then she said that when she left middle school, she moved to a small town, start being a waitress in a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And then for a year or two, and then she went to another shop, be a shop clerk selling fishing gear.
Mm.
And then she another 2 years, and then she went to Xinjiang to one of the relatives selling making furnitures. So she was selling furnitures.
Wow, she must have sold a lot.
And then later came back when she got married. She like one time she actually opened her own restaurant for a couple of years.
Wow.
Okay. And then when she get married, she stopped doing the restaurant because at that time she had to start the stove with the coal, and she said it make her face all black, dark skin. And she said, I haven't even get married and I can't look so this ugly. So she sold her restaurant business, and then she got married, and with her husband, they opened a shop selling fishing gear.
Wow.
And in the end, she became the exclusive distributor for the whole state.
Oh.
At one point, she owned several, 30-some stores across the state, and then hired over 100 people.
Wow.
Okay, so her story
did all that.
Yes.
Wow.
And my story, I have 2 masters and come to United States. It doesn't matter if I'm in United States or in China. I was already, I have this, I fit in the industrialized world's mode. You get a good education, you get a white collar job, but in the end, I know the white collar job don't get me success. Right. So I quit my job. I quit my job.
Just over broke. That's what a job is.
25 years I work for myself, and now that's why I could just drop everything I have, and I went to New York for 2 weeks and volunteers for 2 weeks. I do not ask them to pay me. I told them, you don't price my work. My activism is my activism. I don't want you to pay me. I pay my own way to go to New York. They just put me up for some places. I work for 14 days, 15 days over there. I could do that.
Interesting. Yeah.
And then that's why I say, we need to boycott the corporate world.
Yes. Yes.
They define you. They only use 10% of your talent, and they pay you for that 10%. And you waste your 90% of your talent. All your skills, your people skills, and then the way that you gather information from just exchange with other people. But the corporate world, they define you, what you can do, how much you can pay. They keep you hooked. The opium, which is the weekly salary,
is that the salary is like an opiate. You're right, and people will underperform their whole lives and depend on that salary, not believing they have the power to generate much, much more if they did it for themselves. They don't believe it. And then, like you say, companies, they will put a price tag on your labor. And how brainwashing is that? We start to treat people with different levels of respect based on a dollar figure that they earn. Oh, you earn a lot of money. I will treat you with great respect. Oh, you don't earn much. I'm going to disregard you and be rude to you. That's how we're trained to think, and that's how we treat people. So they've manufactured a class system based on a dollar figure that they put on our labor, and then the limits that they put on our efforts and our creativity to make us feel like we're not of value. And how many people have swallowed that and stayed in that small category? Oh, well, I'm just a clerk. Oh, I'm just a waitress. Oh, I'm just a garbage, a sanitation worker. Oh, well, I'm a blue collar person. I can't marry this white collar woman because I have a blue collar job and she's of a higher class than me. All that stupidity created by other people, and it's wrecking our social lives. So
yeah, so the story of that Chinese, my client, it just showed that it's not based on your education. She just have like not even middle school diploma, not a high school diploma, but she was brave. She traveled around China to learn from different people, and then just build a network but the one thing is China has a very affordable infrastructure, and that's the problem in today's economy. The American infrastructure is old and expensive. The housing, the banking, everything is expensive. And that's why I think as a Green Party, our goal is, humanity and end the poverty, the people, planet, and the peace. When you divert so much resources to the war overseas, how much money you can actually use to update infrastructure, make it affordable for people to operate a small business. And then, another thing is the lower tax. She told me, at a certain level, they are tax exempt. So if I think even American tax the poor. And then with Donald Trump, he was millionaire. He only paid $750 in 10 years. And the corporation, which is own the most wealth in the United States, they pay almost zero taxes. So our tax structure is wrong. All those things is try to keep people, ordinary American, poor and enslaved to the corporate structure, the 9-to-5 jobs. So, I call those jobs is salary slavery.
Yes, salary slavery. That's exactly what we're in. And we are fearful if we lose that slavery. If we lose that salary, we believe we can't survive. And people lose their creative ability to think of other ways of producing some kind of product or service that is of value that can sustain them. We become mentally crippled. That's what this education system does. How many college educated people do we know that are struggling to find employment and cannot think of a way to do something as simple as selling peanuts, just generate revenue? I mean, what was your friend selling? Fishing equipment?
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many ways to survive, but we become crippled by an education system that convinces us that other people control whether or not we can survive. And so we stop thinking for ourselves. That's not education.
Yeah, we have to shape ourselves to meet their mold. If we are a little bit, we have to get our edges cut off so they can fit in their job description. And then we auction ourselves on their platform, see if they can accept us. We should turn the other way around.
Absolutely.
And then with today's technology, the end of industrialization, the automation and the social media actually give us a new platform that we can do business. The social media, reduce the cost of doing business. We do not have to have money that we need to borrow from the bank to open the storefront on the main street. Not anymore.
Not
and that's
anymore.
power.
That's power. That is power. And it's the same thing with the communication systems, the media. We're constantly reminding people that the world has changed and the way we do business has changed. And all you need is a cell phone to connect to the world. So it's the same thing with politics. We don't need to buy multi-million-dollar ads on television to get elected. All we need is a cell phone and a message that touches the hearts of people. And if enough of us believe that we can do it, then each person will contribute their part to make it happen. I believe we'll see it in our time. That we can do attribute their. And so, well, Kareem, do you have any callers on your switchboard? I think we've got a few callers that want to weigh in, and we certainly encourage you to press 1 if you've got a comment you'd like to share. And if you're on our Facebook or YouTube page, of course, add your comments. We're looking at the Green Party for the US presidency. And yes, we've been conditioned to believe that only one of two parties can get elected, and you got to be either Republican or Democrat. But if neither party is really expressing our interest, and I love Kamala Harris, but the reality is that she's part of a system, just as Barack Obama. I mean, they did the best they could as part of a system and a structure that was already there. And symbolically, yes, that's good that the election of people who were, as they say, of color, even though we all got some kind of color, but people who were of African descent, and in case of Kamala Harris, African and Asian descent, and all of that. That's good to see. But the real change comes when we change the policies that we follow, when we change the programs that we create, when we change the economic structure so that we're not creating poverty for the benefit of the wealthy. When that happens, then that's real change. And like both of you all have said, people who express these ideas often get censored because of fear that those who've been in power have, that once we realize they really are no longer in power, we will change our behavior. And like you said, we'll stop spending money with those corporations that are financing oppression. We'll decide we don't need those products and services that they provide. We'll create a whole new banking system, a whole new economic system, a whole new system of exchange that doesn't require us to even interact with the current banking system. I mean, people are doing it already, coming up with different bartering systems and different kinds of currencies, cryptocurrencies and all that. People are coming up with different ways of exchanging things that eliminates the current system. But now, what about the debt? Because you mentioned, Zoe, you mentioned the debt that people have that's crippling. It's the system that we're brainwashed into following. Everybody thinks, well, I got to save a certain amount of money to get my children through college. And, that means I'm going to have to work this job and stay on this salary so I can pay this money for my child to go to college and get an education and get a degree so they can find a job. I mean, we're brainwashed to think that that's what we have to do. And so we keep doing it. And so that's why people get tied to these slave jobs, because they think they have to send their children through that same slavery. Do you think people are willing to do something different, such as teach their children entrepreneurship, teach them real estate investment, teach them sales, teach them how to create and manufacture things? I mean, our one of our hosts, Viata, she's starting a clothing manufacturing company. I mean, she's doing uh fabrics that and creating clothing lines and things like that. I mean, all of us are independent business women in some fashion. Do you think that people will teach this idea to their children instead of teaching them that they have to spend an exorbitant amount of money to get a college degree, even borrow money from these same exploitive banks and be in debt for 30 years trying to pay it off? Do you think people are willing to consider a different system?
Well, Naima, people vote their pocketbook.
Yes, that's true.
People mainly, yeah, they vote their economic interest. There is a system from out of the faith that I follow, El Islam, whereby riba, which means interest.
Mm-hmm.
Riba, excessive interest, is prohibited. It's prohibited.
Yes.
You can borrow a certain amount from a bank, but the interest on that loan is so high, you will be paying it almost half of your life. That locks you into poverty.
A life of debt.
So here's another banking system that the city of Detroit, due to the influence of the large Muslim community, in Dearborn, Michigan, a banking system in Detroit is looking at the Islamic system of how to conduct business. They are looking at the implication of less riba, less interest. What will we do with all of this labor that we no longer need? What will they do with us? Where will we end up? Let me share with you. I mentioned the economic forum held in Davos, Switzerland. Let me share with you a statement from the founder of that international organization. His name is Charles Schwab, and I'm quite sure many of us have heard that name. He is an investor. Here is what he says. No one is thinking about long-term consequences. Like what? If we do not want to be dominated by technology, we have to become a more human society. What we need to master, what leadership style, what capabilities do we need to master all these technologies? I believe we need to emphasize the more human aspect in leadership as a counterweight to all these technological advances. If you think about what a human being is, we exist because of brain, soul, heart. What we can replicate in a robot is the brain, but you never will replicate the heart, which is passion, compassion, and the soul, which enables us to believe. The robot will never have the ability to believe in something. So perhaps we will have, at the end of this revolution, possibly, a basis for a new human renaissance. Now, this is coming from one that's at the top. Speaking of profit and wealth, the greatest wealth that we possess as human beings is time. Yes. You can never get it back. Time is connected to life. You spend your life in it. Can a price be put on the time that is contributed toward any endeavor? You can't get that time back. So that's true. Time is currency. If we can figure a way to benefit from the time that we contribute in an endeavor. Your time is worth as much as my time. I don't care how much education you have. I don't care how many degrees you have. We're all participants in time and how we will spend it. So there can be a system that estimates how much time you gave, how much time you spent out of your life. I don't care what your profession. The profession of a heart surgeon is very laudable. It is very valuable. But if he works 8 hours, that's 8 hours out of his life. Right. If I work 8 hours sweeping a floor, same 8 hours. 8 hours. That's right. Of my life. And it should be worth the same. So we have to come up with a more human leadership. Yes. A more humane leadership. So that is what is needed, and I cannot let the American citizenry off the hook. Our moral compass is down; it is below the floor. Yes, not caring about people. You hear sable rattling about China. China is this. We have to block China. Well, there was a revolution after Mao. And I'm in the intellectual revolution.
Yes.
The next leader opened up colleges, college campuses, free. And they educated their public.
Yes.
And they are ahead of the rest of the world when it comes to these sciences, technology, physics, biology, you name it.
That's
so America does not spend on its greatest wealth. Its greatest wealth is its citizens.
Yes.
So I'll just stop right there. There's so much more to be said on the system of time. We do have a caller here on our AM 360. I want to open up their mic.
Yes.
At this time, inshallah.
Thank you for calling.
Okay. Yeah. 706-627. Muhammad.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Brother Muhammad. By the way, Columbus, Georgia. In this comment, I just wanted to say, speaking to your responsibility to Allah and the responsibility He gave you, many responsibilities He has given you, especially the one of the Imam. So I know that Imam always like to talk about if the door is open to the solution of whatever we're talking about. We're trying to help each other go about it in a pace that is beneficial to their faith and don't make it more difficult than what the Shaitan is doing and we're doing our own self because of not having a proper leadership, etc. This word instant, the way that it was given to us, inshallah, by Allah's messenger, because it was a message of the Quran to reveal to us, share with us on how to go about living. Riba is anything. Money is one of the most important because it's one of the main things that Shaitan has used his value system in the highest expression, cash, gold, whatever, and has the human being been threatened about losing it, which we know is also a quotation in the Quran, what how Shaitan will do. But riba is anything that will take your interest from you. Any agreement that will take your interest away from you and make it difficult for you to establish your worship to Allah, establish food, shelter, and clothing and transportation that you need like any other human being, regardless of what their belief is, and it takes your time away from it. Your environment also is riba that takes away your time in taking care of it more than you taking care of your responsibility to saving your own soul, to worshiping your creator, and making sure that your family and your loved ones have the same opportunity to stay that focus. Our problem with the finance is true, but there's already been a clear cut to that. I have talked to federal VA people who have agreed that the Christians and Muslims have the same right to have a very, very marginal, low interest of the federal government being more in riba of concern about making sure you be successful in the freedom that this country gives you to live your life and pursue the happiness. But you only going to get it by overruling the influence of Satan and those human beings and those environments that are in place is a challenge to you. And Allah has told us you can only climb over these obstacles if you maintain your interest, your riba in your worship, and be in control of your riba to where it's never a threat to any concept, emotion, peace at home, peace with your family, neighbors, etc. And this is why Allah has told us you come out of this interest-bearing society. We live in a society that boldly tell you that you're not going to do nothing in this society that I'm not going to use to capitalize off of your ignorance, your misunderstanding of human concerns, and you're going to serve my benefit, my interest, my reason. And so, I mean, again, when we look at the broad picture, it helps us deal with interest, regardless of how it might come. We are even told to don't let our husbands or our wives become such an interest to us that we start making decisions that goes against what the law says to please her, to please the people, to please ourselves. So I think when we get back, like I said in the beginning of this comment, and I know how difficult a imam's job is because I have been a strong supporter and I have read many, many books on the duties of an imam in many levels so that I know how to support this difficult attack that Shaitan definitely puts on our leadership, especially our imams, our scholars, and our common sense believers. And he never changes. He's going to do that until our interest is secured in following what is the guidance of the Quran and following the life example of Prophet Muhammad and come and do it in a unified way. First, amongst those who have accepted the responsibility by using the language that being a law servant has agreed upon to do with their own free will, not being coerced. Then the other interests in the river that the world is in, we can start reading. That's why they're looking at the banking system. Now, I've studied Islamic banking way back when I was a young believer. And I know that regardless of how much we talk, a lot of us Muslims have not read the books on Islamic banking so that we will be strong in our interest of wanting to pursue helping each other. Now we have seen the world also is looking at how just it is to give the control of a man's family destiny, his own destiny, when it comes to bargaining and using what is considered to be the standard of exchange and be in control of his workers to what he believes in, be he Christian, whatever. And now they're going for the relief that Islamic banking is giving them. They don't have to pay all this funny interest. They don't have to do all of this. They have compassion. They have tolerance from the banking system. They have expertise to help them. And they're slowly making a transition that makes common sense to anybody. So I'm just saying, when we get back to enjoying the benefits of always remembering the law in Al-Islam and what and how it compares to other ways in the life, like Allah has said, because Allah said it is the best way for all of those who believe in having a good life in this world and having peace of mind and interest in their future destiny. But if we keep talking the language of the people who have not made that commitment that we have made, then we're not going to be able to help them because we're going to be too busy trying to defend ourselves from what they're trying to force us or guide us into do after they had the same opportunity and they fully understand capitalism. They know what it means.
Well, you know, Brother Muhammad,
don't even hear the word capitalism no more. They hardly ever hear it.
You know, Brother Muhammad,
no idea. Yes, ma'am.
Well, here, and of course, for those people watching us on our Facebook and YouTube channel, we pulled up on the screen countries using the Islamic banking system, and that includes includes Malaysia, Indonesia, Turkey, Pakistan, and Sub-Saharan Africa, and Central Asia, and even major financial centers like London, Luxembourg, Singapore, and Hong Kong have also opened up their markets to Islamic finance products, which what you're saying, it actually is being instituted in certain areas, and people are seeing a difference in terms of ending that cycle of debt that comes from extreme interest, which is basically charging you money for not having money. So, of course, that is ungodly, as one could say. It's not a loving, kind way to help someone who needs help when you're going to make them suffer for needing help and charge them money because you don't have money. That doesn't make sense. But these are countries that, and says the GCC, countries, the Middle East are are using the system of no interest loans and other financial systems where people are able to circulate money in a way that does not create poverty. So I appreciate your perspective on that. And I think we actually made more progress in certain areas of the world than we realize. The challenge is that here in America, where everything is about profit, everything is about exploiting people for not having money, how do we change the belief that this system cannot change? Because that's the only thing keeping it in place is our belief that there isn't anything else that can happen. And as I'm looking here, we have many nations that are doing this. So can America actually change its perspective and get rid of interest? That's the thought. Can we do what the Green Party is saying?
About, I guess maybe 22 years ago or 23 years ago, we in our community had started running to partial Islamic institutions of lending, partial Islamic knowledge, and we've always taught what Allah says about interest bearing to those who are new believers and those who have been there. Guidance, one of the loan institutions in the United States, been here 15, 20 years. We know we had our own bank at one time in Chicago and Quarantine Bank and things like that, but the problem is not educating the people. It's educating the believers to understand the help of Allah is always there. The United States has been engaged with Islamic banking. Like I said, I first read across Islamic banking, got the books on it, studied it on my own, and my major is in business administration and everything like that, business law, and so I do know that we've been still distracted, still in a state of Reba already, trying to get out of slavery and everything else that was dominating our interest in life, etc., that where we put it on the back burner.
Well, I definitely want to thank you. I do want to thank you for putting that thought out there, that it is those who say they believe who are challenged to set the example to show that this can work. And I think it's challenging for people in America to change the way they think, because a lot of people in America have never been anywhere. So they don't know that other people are doing other things and are successful at it. So thank you, Brother Muhammad, for your call. We appreciate you. Yes.
What we are offering is another alternative.
Yes.
Is an alternative. And it's not just for those that say they are Muslim. The Quran is addressing the whole of humanity about the evil of riba, about the evils of high exorbitant interest rates. This is for the masses on the earth. Not just, don't say, well, that's just for them. No, it is for every human being that there is an alternative. And riba means an exorbitant amount of interest. Now, we know that there is a system whereby if you borrow some money from me, that money is no longer being utilized by myself, by me.
Mm-hmm.
I loaned it to you. So there should be a minimal cost for you using the money that I loaned to you over the term of that contract. I should be compensated for the loss of the use of those funds. But it cannot be like our college students. They are under heavy debt.
Yes, and then when you can't pay it back in a certain amount of time, it becomes impossible to pay back because the interest keeps compounding to the point where you can never pay it back. And then your credit is destroyed. So the whole system of borrowing is really set up to destroy you before you even get started. And that's what makes it unfair. That's what makes it absorbent, like you say, because it makes it impossible for people to ever repay it. Because if you can't repay it quickly, then you have to pay more for not being able to pay it quickly. And it gets to the point where you can't pay it at all. It makes no sense.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So,
but
I believe we can change that.
American citizens know that we can look beyond the two major parties that are dominated by corporate interests. You know, there are other parties. There are third parties, fourth parties, fifth parties. In this country, we have been acclimated to the two-party system.
Right.
But in a lot of countries, there are more than two systems of political positioning. So we need to look at other alternatives. We must, because they're choking the lifeblood out of this country and its citizens. Absolutely. So I'll stop right there. There's so much to be said on this broad subject.
Well, we've got a caller on our. Yeah, absolutely. Well, that is the way capitalism has exploited people is the problem. Having a free economy where people have the ability to earn a living is not the problem. It's the exploitation and the creation of poverty and the maintenance of poverty that is the problem. And that's the system that has to change. But we can change it when we choose to change it. We got another caller. And for those who are watching on our screen, I've shared an event that is coming up today and tomorrow at Malcolm X College called Power Up Chicago. And this is a nationwide event series on advancing educational and economic opportunity for Black Americans. And one of the things and I met a brilliant young man yesterday who is working with the White House, and it's the White House Initiative for Black Americans. And at Malcolm X College today, which is at 1900 West Jackson Boulevard, they're talking about empowerment. I think it's an opportunity for us to inject a different intention for our future. Not so much trying to fit people into the mold that exists, but empowering them to create something better. And so, we'll of course give you the report on that and attend that event. It's a free event by Discovery Education is sponsoring that, and of course today. Then there's a QR code up on the screen for those who want to register, and for those who are interested in attending. There's an event starts this evening at 6, and then tomorrow from 9 to 5, called Power Up Chicago at Malcolm X College today, 1900 West Jackson Boulevard in Chicago. And this is an event that's designed to encourage young people to get involved in the education of themselves, to understand how government works. But I think we have even greater responsibility to examine what we have and then choose to create something better. And I think what the Green Party, I believe, offers is a way of freeing our minds from believing that we don't have an alternative choice, and freeing us from believing we can't create a different economic system. I believe we can. And I believe that if collectively we choose to do it, we will do it. And Zelda says, Grand Rising, oh wise ones. Thanks for the awakening. Yes, Zelda, thank you for being a part of the awakening as well. We're excited because we get a chance every day to hear words of wisdom from our hosts and their guests. And let me go to this caller in the few minutes we have left, and get some comments as we we consider the power that we have to make a change this election year. Area code 111-111. Give us your name, where you're calling from, and your comment.
First and foremost, praise God, Grand Rising, beloved Sister Naima. Praising Father God and praising Mother God. Assalamu alaikum, beloved.
Yes.
Alaikum assalam, my brother.
Yes. This is Brother Neil. Also, the Shy Apostle from 5525 South Lafayette, Chicago. And I hope I have a few minutes left because you're exploring a topic that's so important. The green, our political system. First of all,
you got a couple of minutes before we wrap up.
I'll be real quick.
Yes, sir.
A couple of minutes. If you're gonna play spades or be it with like Aunt Zelda plays, or you're gonna play basketball, you got to learn the rules.
Absolutely.
And most people don't know the rules of our Constitution, of our system of America. They don't know the rules. And when you talk about the topic with Naima that you touched on, and me, how Zoe, because first of all, she does very well with her limited English, and
she has great English. I love her accent, like I love our London host accent. I just love accents.
Yeah. And
so he says ni hao, Zoe.
One of the things we need to one of the things we need to do is in educating ourselves on our Constitution and our system and learning how to work it and make it work for us, because it is this is a republic. And it's for the people. It's the first of its kind, experiment of its kind, like Abraham Lincoln said, where the people have a choice of what they say so of how they're governed. And you do that by your participation in government.
Yes.
That's why I said when they wrote the Constitution, they said in order to form a more perfect union. They knew it wasn't perfect then. They were dealing with slavery then. So therefore, it's up to us to participate and learn and use our vote. And then those people who go represent us, those politicians who represent us, they represent the people. They work for the people. And when you know the law, when you know the rights and you know your rights as a citizen, then your rights as a citizen are exercised when you come together and unify and exert your power. And you exert your power through your representatives. And then also, as my brother said, Kareem said, how you spend your money. But at the same time, the things that those businesses in your neighborhood, because I'm gonna say it, your politician is supposed to be negotiating and bringing businesses, bringing jobs, and doing things to work for your neighborhood, and learning and asking you how to spend your tax dollars.
That's right. They're supposed to ask us. That's right.
We have to exactly.
That's right.
We have to learn the rules of the game before we talk about the game. Because we constantly talk about they.
But
and when it comes down to it, it's about
90 seconds.
You're right.
And it's about, like we say in Chicago, where I grew up, who you with.
I like that. That's right. Well, we got to go, Brother Neil. Thank you so much for adding your words of wisdom.
I love God. I love God. And God spelled backwards for all them devils out. It's God. And I'm an Air Force Alpha nuclear dog.
Well, all right. Well, Brother Neil, we appreciate you so very much.
Where the nuclear bomb was built underground.
60 seconds.
We need to unify.
Yes, we do.
We need to learn the rules of learn the Constitution. I got one in my bag right now. I keep one little small one with me. Learn your rights as a citizen.
There you go.
What the representatives do for you, and you can fire them anytime.
That's right. That's what our vote does.
My brother Kareem said right quick.
Yeah, well, we thank you so much. We got to go, but we thank you so much for your comments, because we've got to go. We got to go. But you have made some very valuable statements. We appreciate you. Thank you so much, Brother Kareem. We appreciate you, and the American Muslim 360 family. And Zoe Ma, thank you so much. And we're continuing to prepare our youth for that trip to China. We're going to keep you posted on that because we're
So
making.
just remember, Republican create the poverty, Democrat maintain the poverty, and Green Party is free you from the poverty.
All right, go green.
Go green, people win.
Go green, we can win. All right, well, we will see you all tomorrow. Join us for our wonderful Thursday host, Angela, as we go with Veggie Brunch Live. So join us tomorrow right here on the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. And until that time, continue to shine your light.
Peace.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, ngiyabonga. Senegal, jareh. Kenya, asante. Israel, toda. Pakistan, shukriya. Afghanistan, tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.